Welcome back to another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. This is the podcast where we have extraordinary conversations with extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Avi, what's up? We back! We are back. What's good? It's been a while.
Man, people have been asking about us. I'm like, we gonna come back. You know, we've been having a lot of podcasts going around here, so we had to make sure people got theirs in.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've been in front of the camera.
I know.
But we've been doing a lot of work behind the cameras for a lot of different
Pod Hub
folks.
and jumping.
Yeah, the Pod Hub is where it's at right now. PodHubMedia.com. Book your podcast space. Shameless plug, baby.
Plug.
Yeah. You know, but no, I'm so happy to be back. It's a new year.
It is.
Yeah, we got some phenomenal things happening over the course of the next few months, and
does Jamil keep us busy?
Yeah, you know, that's what I do. That's what I do. We got to stay active out here, you know. But no, how you been though? I miss you, Avi. You know, I see you all the time. You live right the corner from me, but how you been?
I know. I've been good. I've been working out, being consistent with that. Praise God.
We should probably put some clips of her working out into that. When she just said that, bro, just like put some video clips in there of her working out, because they be out here beast mode.
Boss man, I did not approve that, just so you know. Okay, I did not approve that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, so how's that been going for you?
It's been going good, because you know what I said to myself, Jamil? I said, you know, I don't have kids. I don't have, you know, the responsibilities that a lot of other people have. So do something. Right. You know what I mean? Like do something with the time that you have. So working out was it. I've been consistent though.
Listen, I've been following you online, and you know, I'm like, all right, I got to get my ass in the gym now. I got to get in the gym. Then I go.
Well, you were going to the next level boot camp though.
Yeah, I was. I was. I'll be back. You know, but you know the crazy thing, like I started it like when the year started. I started this new workout program at home on the tonal, and I was going hard on.
Yeah,
I was super consistent with it. I was super consistent with it. Then we had that damn snowstorm, right?
Oh yeah, you had to leave.
I had to leave my house for a week, you know, because I didn't have heat. So I had to get my furnace replaced, and the furnace couldn't get replaced because of the driving bans that were taking place around the city. So
that was
I was displaced for a week, and it just completely threw me off.
I know, Jamil. You gonna get back into it?
Yeah, I got to.
You gonna get back into it?
New year, new me, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
But no, I'm excited about this new season of the podcast. You know, we always are about bringing on some phenomenal guests who are doing some phenomenal things here in our city, even outside the city. And today is one of those ones.
Of course.
Today is one of those ones.
We would not disappoint.
I'm super excited to have our guests on today. I want to tell a quick story about both of them. I know one more than I know the other, but I know both of them. You know what I mean? So, and we all work together too, which is the crazy thing.
Something?
Yeah, we all work together at the day job. But we have Ruqayyah Simmons here. We have Jelicia Jimenez. I was right the first time. Right.
You got it.
So these women are phenomenal women here in Buffalo. They have this amazing organization called Black Boys Read Too. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm just super excited to have them because both of them I've been friends with for a bit. Again, me and Ruqayyah, we go back. Yeah, we go back. You know, we used to do some work together. You know, in church we used to go to, and she's just a phenomenal talent.
Which is interesting, because you say you go back, when you look at her, you're like, well, how far back? Because she looks like she's only 25.
She's about 12 out here.
Yeah, like...
Well, I mean, I went out to eat last week, and the waitress ID'd me to get a drink. And so when I pulled out my ID, she was like, 1999? 1991? 1990? 19? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, I thought you were like my age. I was like, come on now.
Wait, 91? What?
Yes, I'm born in 91. Yes, I was born in 91. I know my age.
Yeah, 90s baby. Wow.
90s baby.
She a 90s baby.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
I heard 91 was just that cutoff.
Yeah.
For the millennials, between millennial and Gen Z.
Well, yeah. We'll say it that way.
What does that mean to me?
No, but you know, Ruqayyah is a phenomenal talent. I mean, she has like skill sets that's truly unmatched. You know, through the work that she does in education. She's a creative talent as well.
Yes.
And doing some incredible things here in the city. again, we work together. I'm going to have them talk a little bit about the work that they do as well. But and Jelicia, she is, and of course, somebody's going to call me right in the middle of the podcast, you know what I mean? But Jelicia is another phenomenal talent that we have here, a force in education, just has a passion for young people, for, just seeing this next generation of talent, really be nurtured into the right way here in the city.
We need that.
We definitely need that. They're both educators. And shameless plug again, they were both past recipients of the Changemakers 30 Under 30 Awards. So
good job.
We have alum, love to have the alum here with us, so but these women are doing some phenomenal work in the space of education here in Buffalo. And this amazing organization. I'm like, we have to get them on. We got to shine a light on this phenomenal work that they're doing with Black Boys Read too. But ladies, thank y'all for coming on.
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all are doing some incredible work, and it's about time that I think you guys get the just recognition that I think you guys deserve. And you guys don't get me wrong. They've been getting recognized, you know what I'm saying? They've been getting to the bag out here, but we want to see bigger bags for them.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So, but we'll kind of hop into that in a bit. So, but ladies, before we kind of go into Black Boys Read too, I want y'all to just kind of give us some little backstory about why education, why how'd you guys get yourselves in this education space? Why do you feel like it's important, especially as women of color, to be in this education space? Because it's not enough of us, so why? So Ruqayyah, we'll start with you.
So I think I always wanted to be a teacher. I remember back my 5th grade year, I didn't go to school for grammar school here in Buffalo, but I still remember the school I went to, my 5th grade teacher, Miss Harper, if you're out there, if you hear and I always said that I wanted to be a teacher. And I kind of fought against it for a long time because there's no money in education. And so I think I went to school originally with a business track, and then I switched over into public relations, and I did a little bit with that. In my first part of Say Yes career as a navigator. And I remember sitting in one of my meetings with the navigators, and I was like, I want to be a teacher. We had a visitor from Teach Across America or Teach for America. Yeah. And I was just sitting there tuning that woman out, and I was like on my computer, like, okay, how can I go back to school and become a teacher? Because at that point I had already gotten my first master's degree. So I was like, I really don't want to have to go back and do another master's. So I'm like looking, trying to figure out how I can get in there. And I just dove in. I went back to school, got my master's in childhood education. I started maybe a week after my student teaching. I started teaching 2nd grade at a charter school here. And that was right when the pandemic hit. So I taught 2nd grade for the first part of the pandemic. This was before we transitioned over online. So we were going in every 4 weeks making packet work to send home with the kids. And it was heartbreaking to see all the packets at the end of the pickup time because nobody was coming to get it or they weren't returning them. So I said that once we were back in session in person, I was going to try to fill in that gap. I moved up to 5th grade. Because I always knew I wanted to teach 5th grade.
Why 5th grade?
My best memories from school were from 5th grade. I remember my teacher. I remember the projects we did. I remembered what field trips we went on.
My 5th grade teacher, her name was Ms. Roach.
Oh. Are you for real?
Her name was Ms. Roach.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry.
You remember her, though.
I do remember. How can you forget that?
How can you forget that?
So I did 5th grade, and I just kept seeing my students coming in, not reading. The school I had didn't have a traditional library, so I built a library in my own classroom. So I bought out of my own pocket hundreds of books. And I wanted to have books that reflected the students that I was teaching. And that's how it happened. I taught, and I was going to transition over into a different setting to teach when Jelena came and poached me, and now I'm back at Say Yes, and I love it. But I'm glad that I have this organization to be able to still do that teaching piece of it, even if it's not in the traditional sense.
Do you see yourself wanting to get back into the schools and, actually be
in the classrooms?
In the classrooms?
No.
You must have got scared straight or something, didn't you?
Well, when I went into teaching, I felt that with all real change, you can make change in the classroom, yes, but you make bigger change at the administration level. Yeah, so when I went into teaching, it was so that I could pay my dues, I could get that experience, I could see where the holes were, and then move up into administration to be able to make bigger change, whether that was in curriculum and instruction or in educational policy. So when I say I always wanted to be a teacher, yes, I did, but I also knew that wasn't the end goal for me.
Wow. Okay, that's what's up. And did you, when you were in the schools, what environment what type of environment was it? Like the, inner city kids, or was it like a little bit more?
Yes. So the school that I was at was on Edison. So right.
Oh, you in the hood?
Oh,
you in the hood.
Edison. Yes. Yeah. So we had our challenges. Did
that scare you away?
No. It takes a little bit more than some fifth graders to scare me away. Was I tired at the end of the day? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I was tired.
It scared me away. I was in education for a hot second, right? And I'm not gonna say what school it was because I don't want to put them on blast, but
I do not know this.
Yeah. That was like kind of like my first kind of job out of college, right? So, but I don't ever talk about it because I lasted literally like a week. Oh, you know what I mean? But I was in the schools, and like when I had like seventh graders like threatening me, and like they were making good on those threats. They had their folks outside waiting for me, and I was just like, and I wasn't driving at the time, so I'm on the bus, so I'm just like, I gotta go out the back door to hit down the street. So I'm just like, man, because if I go out this front door, little Ray Ray and his little buddies and everything,
making good on their threats.
They definitely made good on their threats. Dang, so I was just like, yeah, this teacher thing ain't it, bro. I was young at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna put my hands on one of these kids, but I digress though. I digress. Jelicia. So you also are into education as well, but you're not from here, right?
No, I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So one of my fondest memories as a kid is going to the library with my mom, the Brooklyn Public Library with those big doors and everything.
I was just there a few months ago.
For the Hove
exhibit.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
It is.
So, I always loved reading, and I think that kind of just naturally brought me into the teaching field once I started my undergrad degree. And then moved to Buffalo, became a substitute teacher. And then we moved to Buffalo because I wanted to get into the library program here at UB. Mm-hmm. So I was really blessed to get a position before I even graduated as a school librarian I think I was there for 3 years. And then me and Ruqayyah met.
How did you guys meet?
I was her mentor.
Yeah, through the Emerging Leaders Program with Open Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Jillian hooked us up.
Yeah, Jillian Hainsworth.
Yeah.
Hooked us up.
Yeah. Shout out to Jillian, past guest as well on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah, so we met and we became friends. I was actually one of her daughter's teachers when she was in second grade.
Oh, wow.
You just didn't know it.
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy.
So that was kind of my first little realization of how small Buffalo is.
Yeah.
In a good way sometimes. So we linked up. She came to me maybe a year or two later and had the idea for Black Boys Read Too.
What was that conversation like?
So I called her. I was driving home. I still remember it vividly. I was driving home from school, and I called her and I was like, hey, crazy idea. Let's put bookshelves in barbershops. And we were just talking about it. I was like, this is how I think we should do this. I don't see anyone else doing it. And it just happened. I don't even remember when we had that conversation, but
I think it was January, and then by March we had everything fleshed out.
Nice.
Bought the books, sourced the barbershops.
Wow.
Yeah, so we placed 3 bookshelves. We paid for them. We worked with Left-Handed Bandit to paint them.
Shout out to my guy.
Yes, shout out. And we placed them, bought all the books, put them in the 3 barbershops, and then we've grown from there.
Y'all came out of pocket?
Yeah.
We were really blessed to only have to do the first 3 out of pocket, and then we just really dove into fundraising, and we're kind of good at it. And, but yeah, we are really blessed and made our own money back and then some. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing.
I kind of want to dive into fundraising because we always want to make sure that we give people some little nuggets, right? So with you guys being so good at fundraising, what are some things that you know you do really well and the result, the return of it is so monumental? Like, what are some things that you really do well when it comes to fundraising?
I think that we have a very clear mission statement. It's not vague at all. People know exactly what we do with.
What's the mission statement?
Our mission statement is bringing books to the boys is our tagline. And we put bookshelves in barbershops and we host pop-up literacy events.
I think, and we've had multiple people who have come to us and say, oh, can you put a bookshelf here? Can you put a bookshelf here? Will you do this type of programming? Will you collaborate this? And we're really good at sticking to what we set out to do.
Absolutely. Very good.
We've recently expanded our bookshelves out of barbershops, but every set of bookshelves that we do, if we're doing a couple of them at a community center or somewhere, we always make sure that we're doing that many at another barbershop. We know that eventually we are going to run out of barbershops.
Run out of them?
Yes, in Buffalo to put them in. Yeah. So we've been trying to be mindful of how we can expand, but still stick to that mission of bringing books to the boys.
How many barbershops are you guys in right now?
We have 12 at this point. Okay.
With plans for...
We have 8 more that are waiting for placements. And so out of those 12, we have 3 bookshelves that are not in barbershop spaces. So
yeah.
That's interesting.
But I feel like we always maintain our integrity, even with the funding sources that we have. They make sense with our mission and align well with the work that we do.
Because I'm assuming that, there's probably some instances where people kind of come to you guys wanting to maybe partner with you or what have you, and maybe sometimes those things don't align with your mission. Does that happen at all?
Yeah.
So we try to, because at the end of the day, it's for the kids. We want to make sure that we are putting books in the hands of children. So if it means that we can't collaborate in the sense of being at that event or taking the money, we might in turn donate something instead. So if they're having an event where children are going to be, and it might not align necessarily with the values of our organization, will still try to pour into it somehow, whether that's donating books or
putting a gift basket
together, something along those lines.
So being in Buffalo, even though our seasons seem to be changing, but I
think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Okay. But we have more winter than anything else. So when it comes to... Oh, you thought I was going somewhere else?
Yeah.
What are you
It's all good. We always...
That's all right.
It's all good.
I know.
We'll be
Okay.
back on this. It's been a while.
With it being majority winter here when it comes to fundraising, do you do a lot of online fundraising that works, or are you always doing in-person fundraising? Which seems to be...
We've only had one in-person fundraising event.
Oh.
Was I at that one?
That was
I was at the anniversary event, right?
Yeah, that was like anniversary fundraising.
Okay.
But we most of our money now is coming from grants.
Perfect.
That's amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
When we first launched, we did have a lot of community support. There was lots of books being donated from our wish list, a lot of just regular community members donating through our website. That kind of died down.
Well, I think a lot of it was a wave of support after the tragedy that had happened.
Yes.
And then once that kind of died down,
which we anticipated.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we've gotten really good at micro grants and then sourcing the larger grants now that we're ready to kind of tackle that.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
So kind of in that realm, right? One of the things I wanted to ask you guys about, you say Black boys read too, right? And we, it's still Buffalo, right? And, sometimes that people that phrase can be a bit off-putting to some people. Mm-hmm. Have you guys had any type of pushback? People from the community, people was like, well, what about white boys read too? You know what I mean? Like, have you had that type of pushback at all?
Honestly, not really.
No.
Okay.
Of course, when you look at the articles that people wrote about us in the beginning, if you look in the comment section, which you really shouldn't, you'll see
stay away from the comment section.
You'll see in there like the one man who has nothing else to do but like right behind the computer with no picture attached. But other than that, honestly, we've had nothing but support from the Buffalo community.
Yeah, and I think that like one of the ways you prepare yourself for those conversations is having data-driven stuff behind you. Like here, when we sat and looked at the data for literacy rates here in Buffalo, we really grounded like what we do in that too.
That's good. So I have a question. I'm seeing more and more that it's I don't know. It just seems like it's more autistic kids that's around now. If you have any tips or anything like that, if someone does have an autistic kid, how do you how do you help a kid like that read when the development isn't really there? Like, is it a little different, especially with their focus? I know their focus and attention could be a little different too.
I think one of the things that we have the luxury of doing is like the joy factor. So just honestly making reading fun is like, I think, step one for a lot of kids to get a book in their hand where, we pick books where they can see themselves reflected in the pages, something fun, exciting. I think that's step one. And then beyond that, with like literacy practices, we've been looking into decodables a lot. The average American reads on a 4th grade reading level, or isn't
average?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or isn't functionally literate. So there's all these new studies coming out about decodables, which teach you more about like phonics and less about like word recognition.
Because there's a science behind reading. So while I'm no expert in it, and we're learning every single day, there was a switch in how reading was taught. So before, you were taught by the sound and putting those together, just like Jelicia said about the decodables. And then it turned into almost like memorization.
Sight words.
So learning these sight words. And then we find that children don't actually know how to read. They're just memorizing sight words and memorizing the sounds of words. So even, so when you would put a book out in front and if you had just the words, they wouldn't be able to really decode any of the words in front of them. But if you put a picture, then now they can guess at these words and then they just remember them. Okay, I remember this, I remember this. I believe I saw something that they're gonna be switching back to the actual learning the science of reading and learning how to sound out the words and the vowel sounds and things like that. So that is also a huge reason why the average American cannot read at a proficient level.
Why did they do that?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think they're
trying to keep us stupid out here. That's what it is.
Honestly, maybe. But trends in education change so much too, and science and studies and academia.
I know math has changed, but I didn't know reading. I didn't know that has changed.
I mean, they're out here burning books.
Right.
They're trying to keep people,
Man, I did not know that. Wow.
The piece on, so I don't have a lot of experience working with special education. It wasn't my specialty for when I went to school. But I will say that I think the idea of special education is really taboo in the Black and brown community. So I think outside of making reading fun and literacy fun and being on their level and things, we need to have more conversations and be more open to accepting resources and help, so that when we have our children who are dealing with autism or any other form of disability, being quiet or hiding it isn't going to help anything. And there's still so much shame surrounding it, which I don't understand why. It's just fear or history of things. So not being afraid to ask for help, working with your children's teachers, especially when you have good teachers. Right. I was a teacher and I understand that not all teachers are good, but when you have one or two or a few who are really giving good advice and rallying around your child, believing them and trying to take some of the things that they're saying to use to help your child.
Yeah. One of the things, you talk about sometimes teachers not being good sometimes, right? And it just leads me to think about the need for more teachers of color, right? And you need teachers that's culturally competent, people who can relate to these students that they serve. Can you guys kind of speak to that, like the importance? And Jelicia, I'll let you answer this. Like, why do you feel like that it's important to have more representation, from people of color in the classrooms? And I think a second part of that, why do you feel like that there's like this disproportionate number of teachers and educators, non-people of color in these spaces where mostly people of color, kind of dominate, like in these inner city schools and things like that?
I think that it's like the retention of teachers of color. A lot of people will start in the classroom, and then I think you get quickly jaded by, it's not even really the kids in my experience, it's the other adults that you're surrounded by. Teachers that are not culturally competent, teachers who don't come from the same places that their students come from. I worked with a teacher once who told me before she worked in urban education, which I hate that word, she didn't know how to talk to a person of color. She told me she'd never encountered one in her hometown ever in her life. So that was really shocking for me, especially being from New York City and hearing that in Buffalo, and just kind of like grappling with how hyper-segregated the city really is. Could be tough. I think there are excellent teacher training programs out there, though, and I wish I had an answer for how to keep teachers of color in the classroom. I don't know. I really don't.
I can tell you how you teach.
Yeah,
how you keep teachers of color in the classroom is you see them and you listen to them, and when they come to you with a concern or asking for support, you do it.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, teachers of color are the ones who get all the children who are bad or are exhibiting the most challenging behaviors, because administration sees it as like, well, you're a strong teacher, you can handle it. But strong teachers get tired too. They get burned out too, and they need support too. And so if you're not in a space where you're feeling supported or heard, sometimes while you're in it for the kids, because you don't go into education for the money and the fame.
Right.
Eventually, like Jelicia said, it's the adults in the building who push you out, or you end up trying to move somewhere else. So and that's how you keep. Yes, pay teachers more.
Please, yeah.
Right. Pay teachers more, and that's how you keep teachers of color. You have to see them; they have to be heard.
So speaking of support, I know that you ladies need support, with everything that you do. So let's speak about that a little bit. Let's talk about the kind of support that you all need while you are expanding what you're doing.
Yeah, we are currently trying to build capacity. So up until now, it's just been a 2-woman team. So we are going to be expanding our book clubs that take place at Barbershops. And so we're going to be looking to train facilitators to come in and run those book clubs. There'd be a stipend attached to it. Nothing that's going to pay your bills, but something. And so we are in that position now to start expanding in that space, because we've kind of gotten to the point where, okay, we can handle doing the bookshelves and getting the books out. So now the next step is building that book club.
So basically you need volunteers. So what type of volunteer are you really looking for?
Is it really volunteer if they're getting a stipend?
Well, it's a facilitator.
Well, they said it can't pay your bills.
Yeah.
Right. So we're looking for teacher candidates, our pool of volunteers that we're kind of looking for, people who enjoy spending time with kids, who want to be there in the first place, who can take a learning experience away from this. Retired teachers is something that Ruqayyah had mentioned as well. If they have the experience and just miss being in that role of facilitating learning, we welcome them to join us too.
But really, anyone who is dedicated to the mission of putting books in the hands of boys and girls, and is reliable, we can teach you to facilitate the book, the book reading. A lot of it doesn't take a lot of skill, honestly. As long as you enjoy reading, you enjoy being around children and their families, you could do it.
Yeah.
You said black boys read too. Why the emphasis on black boys?
So I found that in my classroom, it was the boys in the classroom who did not want to read naturally. Whether it was they felt they didn't have books that reflected their lives or their experiences, or they didn't think it was cool. The girls were more likely to pick up a book and read. So that's why we placed the emphasis on the Black boys.
Yeah, and then qualitatively and quantitatively, we noticed it in our classrooms. And then we also, again, sat down and really pulled the data, literacy rates for here in Buffalo, who was passing those exams. And we saw a gap in the numbers.
What type of impact have, since you guys launched this organization, can you speak to the organization's impact so far, right? So, we want to put hands in, we want to put books in the hands of young Black boys, put them in these barbershops and such. How has that, made an impact? Have we seen, it's probably too early to determine right now, but have you seen a rise in, maybe literacy rates or something like that? You know what I mean? So
we're thinking of ways to creatively track that, especially as we get into these larger funding sources. Those are things that they do really want to see. I think the metrics that we do have is that we've given away hundreds of books.
We've given away thousands of books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thousands of books. And seeing the interactions between the barbers and the boys that come in, and just the natural mentor-mentee kind of relationship that organically grows from that has been really great, especially because we're women, right? So we get to come in, facilitate the book club, and then just see these relationships just form organically.
And barbershops have always been historically a community hub in the community. So, and we know that, and we're not men. We know that. So it just made sense to try to bring books to a place that traditionally you're spending a lot of time there.
No, we know what goes on in the barbershop.
Exactly. So we're trying to.
At least we know, bro. I don't know everybody else, but we know.
And a lot of times the boys are sitting there and they're hearing a lot of these conversations.
And a lot of the nonsense that takes place.
Right? They're on their phones, they're on the tablets, they're listening to whatever's going on. So we wanted to try to change that a little bit. So instead of being on the phone, on the tablet, or talking about whatever you guys are talking about, they can instead pick up a book and they can bond on that. They can read with their dad or their uncle or their grandpa or their barber.
And we did have a barber tell us, when a client comes in and sees a bookshelf decorated with cartoon characters, with children's books, it does slightly change the culture or the vibe or the conversations that are happening.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to ask you if anyone, a barber, ever said anything about how that has impacted his shop or anything like that. So
yeah, we get pictures often that they'll send of kids reading with their families and things. So it's always nice when we get that as our text message.
Yeah. I'm thinking about something. We're going to wrap up soon, but you had spoke earlier, Ruqayyah, a little bit about capacity building, right? And I'm just thinking about it. In order sometimes to build capacity, collaboration is important, right? Being able to collaborate with existing organizations, existing people. Have you guys had any type of collaborations with people? Are you guys open to collaborations with people? I'm thinking of one off the top of my head. I don't know if it makes sense or not. You can kind of speak to this, but I'm thinking the mayor's summer reading challenge or something like that, right? So
we did collaborate with them a bit.
So we did go to their awards ceremony at the end of the summer. We did give out information. This was early on in our first year. So we did do that. We often try to table at any event that will have us to give out books and information. We've also done story times with different authors in the area. Oftentimes we do it in collaboration with Alice Ever After on Parkside. So we've done events there a few times with different authors. We're open to collaborations. We've talked with a few people, and sometimes it just doesn't come to fruition, but we're always open to seeing if anyone wants to do something with us and it makes sense.
We did a great collaboration with the Fatherhood.
Oh, yes.
The Buffalo Fatherhood Initiative?
Yes.
Nice.
Shout out to them. They shoot their podcast here in the studio as well. So that's
that was really fruitful, and they had a volunteer come in and work with us. facilitated a bit of the book club with us. So that was great.
That's super dope.
That's a good collaboration. Right
That is a and I think it's more collaborations like that needs to happen, right? Because that's how you grow and build, your capacity.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
if we keep working in our little silos, we're taking the longer route, right? And but I think we can lessen that burden, and we could, make this journey a little bit more easier sometimes if we are just being more open to collaborations, right?
I think that's like a joy of the intimate feeling of the city of Buffalo, because people are always so down to collaborate and do really cool things.
Yeah, because I have some other ideas as well, and I'm just like, okay. Because then we have at 30 under 30, then we did something with you guys. Then we obviously outside of you being honored, but we
had a video that was done from one of our book clubs. So we showed that and gave out some information.
Yeah, we got to keep doing that. We got to push that more. So we got to make sure we push that stuff out more.
Absolutely.
On the platform. So, ladies, this has been an amazing conversation.
Thank
you. I really want to make sure that we continue to have these conversations around this amazing work that you guys are doing. But, in respect to what Aviance was asking about, how people can support, like how can people reach you guys? How can they connect with you guys online, things like that?
So we have a website, blackboysread2.org. We're on Instagram, blackboysread2_BFLO. We're on Facebook.
How can people donate to y'all?
Through the website.
Okay, there we go.
So we
need to see how people
Yes.
It's one thing of just going to the website and get some information. We need people to really.
Yes, you can donate through the website. You can also see the link to our Amazon wish list for books. So what's really special about our bookshelves is that we don't put used books on them. When we set up a bookshelf, they come with 50 to 75 brand new books. And it's done intentionally because oftentimes when you take used books, donations, you're getting whatever is left over. Our books have an emphasis on Black protagonists, heroes, and role models. So to do that, we need brand new books. And our kids deserve brand new books.
Absolutely.
We work with the barbershops to try to curate a bookshelf that will work with their clientele. So if they have a lot of younger clients, then we put books that are geared towards that age group, all the way up through adults. So on barbershop bookshelves, you'll see adult books and then board books that are teaching your ABCs. So it's a wide range, and we rotate those books so that the barbershop is always getting something new, always something fresh.
Nice.
That's super dope.
You know what, too? I have a thought. I would love if you two ladies would be able to come back, because I know that there's grants have been the thing, especially because there's so many entrepreneurs that's out here now, and they know that grants are the thing. And for the education piece, I know there's a lot of people who are in that space in other cities and wherever they are. I would love for you ladies to come back and just give some little tips on how you have, got awarded these grants. What are certain things within a grant that they need to know, especially when you said mission statement, but there's other things within a grant that people need to know when it comes to education. So it wouldn't have to be long, but if you ladies would be open to it, I would love to do that. That'd be dope.
Because we're all about giving people some game, and you with the work that you guys are doing, there are people out here who are not doing the exact same thing, but doing similar work, right? And we need all of it. We need all of it. There's a need for it here in the city. So, but in addition to reaching out to your website, how can people connect with you guys personally? Like you guys on Instagram, Facebook, all that type of stuff. Don't give out your social and your phone number. We don't need that.
Yes, we are on Instagram and on Facebook. I have a TikTok. I don't use it that much, but I did when I was in the class. When I was in the classroom, I used to do these large classroom transformations. So
I could definitely see Ruqayyah on TikTok.
I was on TikTok
dances and everything.
Well, I'm not really good at the dances. It takes me a long time to come up with the dances.
She's lying, because we actually, Ruqayyah and I, we what was that dance? It was
What?
We were we did the what's the name of that? The New Edition song. Is it alone?
We had a whole routine.
Yeah, we did the whole routine.
Yes, we did have the whole routine.
Yes,
we
did. The whole studio. We had to,
we might be able to find it. We might have a pull the video.
You gotta edit that clip out.
We had that whole routine.
We did it though.
We did.
We got it though. So
no, I used TikTok. Well, because I had a rule with my students that they couldn't follow me on socials, but you could follow me on TikTok.
And what happened if they did follow you on social?
Oh, I blocked them. One year I did have a group of kids who tried to find me, and one of them found me. The issue is that children are not smart, so they were bragging about it.
Girl.
They were bragging. Not smart when they're trying to be sneaky. When they're trying to be sneaky. We were way smarter when it came down to being sneaky back in the day. Now, They tell on themselves.
Yeah,
they were bragging about it, and I was like, oh, well, let me see your page. Let me see. And then I went and I blocked them and everyone else. So, TikTok, I was able to use as a platform to show what I was doing in the classroom. So I used to do large classroom transformations. So I used to do, around March Madness time, I did a book bracket. I would come in dressed up like a referee. I had
talk about that.
Changed the whole classroom. The whole day would be basketball themed activities for math and science and social studies, everything. When we were reading Hidden Figures, and it aligned with the same time that we were learning about space and science. So I changed the whole classroom to look like a spaceship and had down to everything. Oh, it's a lot of work. I had a pop-up tent that was like a spaceship. I put Katherine Johnson on the door, on the ladder. It was a lot. But
that's stuff that the kids will like never forget, and then that's stuff that we can bring into the events that we plan, because we make them look good too.
Yeah, these are real experiences that they're going into.
Right.
What about you? How can people connect with you?
Same, yeah, I'm on Instagram, but social media is not really like...
That's not your thing?
Nah.
Okay. No, that's all good, man. This has been an amazing conversation, y'all. I really appreciate y'all for coming on. Again, we definitely going to have you guys come back and just have like a masterclass on all of these things that you guys are doing. And again, we want to make sure that you guys connect with them. blackboysread2.org. Yeah, /donate.
/donate.
Get to the donate. Let's go right to the donate page.
The website won't work if you don't put the /donate.
And 2 is TOO.
Yeah, TOO. Yes. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This is fun.
It's been a great conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of We Are the Ones podcast. Make sure you follow us across all of the streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Audible, iHeart. I mean, we're all over the place right now. We're on YouTube as well. Follow us across the social media at We Are the Ones podcast.
And remember, keep winning on purpose, because you are the one we have been waiting for. I didn't even do the hand roll like that this time.
All right, we out, y'all.